Yo, yo, mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the pilot episode of the Wolfpack podcast. I'm your host, Wolfson, as always. If you guys are wondering what the hell is this, Wolfson, why is the Lone Wolf changing to the Wolfpack? Oh, is it a refresh or rebrand? No. Actually, the Lone Wolf podcast, I love doing it as much as I want to keep doing it. I am going to keep doing it because it has brought me lots of joy. It has allowed me to interview lots of people over from different backgrounds, from different, countries in the world, even from within our states, our local area, and international, which is like amazing. But the thing is, I'm always backed up with interviews. I'm always having interviews every month, like 7 times. Like this entire month of November and December is like interviews, and then schedule all the way to February, which is insane. It's insane. But at the same time, it frees me up a little bit more of time for me to do other stuff. And something that I always wanted to do is my initial goal of the Lone Wolf podcast. I honestly did not want the Lone Wolf podcast to be an interview-based podcast, but it turned out to be like that, and I completely enjoy it, and I'm gonna continue doing. So, what is this? What is the Wolfpack podcast? So, the Wolfpack podcast itself is the initial thing that I started with, talking about real life events of what currently is happening in the entertainment industry, whether it's the music scene that we see this all the time, or the film scene, the TV scene, even on the technology scene and the video game scene. Like, people really do not realize that video games has its own industry within the entertainment industry. Like, there's a lot of things to talk about. I mean, Twitch itself is its own, separate thing that for some reason it will give me content out of it. Like, there's always some shit happening on Twitch, and that's the type of stuff that we're gonna talk about. And we're also gonna bring about, shit that that really goes down in the entertainment industry. What else? This is like, I got my notes right here, guys, so you already know. But we're also gonna be talking about certain topics, and these type of topics are literally the good, the bad, and the ugly topics that we encounter on our weekly basis, or at least an everyday basis. But I'll condense that all in a small little segments in every week, whether it's on the Wednesdays or Thursdays, but you're gonna have the podcast episode up every week, all right? Just like the other ones, So here's the thing. So basically, it's like a Media S channel, but it's treated as a podcast, meaning that we're gonna be talking about stuff that happens, like, for the sample, Kanye West cancellation. Yeah, we'll be covering that, but also in the EDN aspect, several things are happening with A&Rs and labels and artists itself being, doing nasty stuff, but as well as the movie and TV scene, reviewing some of the great shows, some of the stuff that you guys haven't reviewed. All that condensed into at least an hour long episode. That's right, guys. I'm not gonna go over the hour long. And if you guys do not want to even, see the entire episode, that's fine, guys, because I'm gonna make sure you guys get, your own little clips. I'm gonna be airing clips every other day on the specific topic of the episode. And if you want to see the full-length episode, you guys can go ahead and click to see the full-length episode. See, it's simple as that, guys. It's simple as that. So definitely, we're gonna condense it all into less than an hour long. And from time to time, we're definitely gonna have co-hosts. We're definitely gonna have recurring guests over here. Just mind you, this background, don't mind me. Don't mind it. It's just, I'm trying to build my podcast. I'm trying to build this second channel. The Lone Wolf has its own little studio. Has its own little studio, as you see from the early days to the later days to where it is right now. The Wolfpack is gonna be different. I have to do it somewhere that's not in the same studio. Not gonna go over it. We're gonna talk about that on another episode. But right now, don't mind this. We're gonna figure this out. And yeah, a Jetty mic, I'm not into USB mics, but even though Jetty mics are good, I'd rather have my own mic, which is the PreSonus that I have in my home, which is gonna bring it on the next episode. That's for sure. So yeah, guys, we're gonna talk about, a lot of stuff that happens every day, and we're gonna condense it into 1 hour. And I want the people to come in and comment down below. I want you guys to tell me, hey, Wilson, what do you think about this? Hey, what about this and that? Guys, bring me topics that you want me to discuss. Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll discuss about it. We'll talk about it, and we'll go through it. And like I said, it's gonna be consistent content based in what happens in the entertainment industry from my perspective and my objective opinion. That's very key and important. I want everybody to notice that. It is my perspective as an outsider, as a third-party view or third-party person. And it's my opinion. I go by based on common sense, logic, and objectively minds. Like I cannot be biased. Maybe there will be times that I could be biased on a certain topic or such, but at the same time, I have to remain neutral about it, because that's the only way. That's the only way to stay neutral and not be, canceled. It's like, oh, Wilson say this. It's like, oh shit, I'm canceled. Here we go. But it is my opinion. You guys can either, take my opinion and have it, out there, or you could just say F me and that's it. And I'll be like, all right, it's still my opinion, that's not gonna change, And it's all based stuff that, from music, tech, movies, comics, anime, gaming, and TV shows. We're gonna talk about all that stuff, It's gonna be a little bit all around within the entertainment industry aspect, all the stuff that happens in the real life, the current events. Sometimes we'll have special guests, talking about it. Like I said before, eventually I'll have a co-host. Right now, we're still building it, and eventually we'll have recurring guests to come over and talk about the shits, We'll have the stuff to talk about. Even if nothing happens, there's always something that we can talk about. Absolutely. Every week it's going to be a brand new episode, with brand new topics, just like in the Lone Wolf. Wednesdays or Thursdays, and we'll be dropping the clips every other day, So that way, if you, like I said, you don't feel like watching the full episode, that's fine. You can still watch the clip version out of it. And if you feel like you want to watch the full contents of the clip, then go for it, And like I said, we're gonna keep it like that, short and simple. So yeah, guys, let's get down to the shiznit. Like literally, let's get down to it. So let's go with our topics, because there's a lot of topics I want to cover, I want to talk about, and I need this out of my system. Like I need to get it out, because if not, I'm gonna lose my shit. Literally. So first thing that we're gonna talk about is freedom of speech. I know. I'm not going to be political about it. I'm not going to be political. This is not a political channel. I'm not a politician or a political analyst. No, I'm just a regular civilian. However, I do have common sense with it. And the reason why I say freedom of speech is because, as a U.S. American, everybody has their own rights. Every U.S. American have their own rights. The moment that you were born in U.S. soil, you have the American rights, which is basically, the Constitution. The First Amendment of the Constitution is the freedom of speech. And everybody is, to boil it down, freedom of speech is basically say you have the right to say whatever you gotta say, as long as you actually don't do it, That's the mindset. The mindset that everybody is having it, Problem is that freedom of speech is not really freedom of speech. If you want to get technical, yeah, it is freedom, because you're allowed to say whatever you want to say. But at the same time, it isn't. Why? Because anything that you say can ultimately backfire. And the reason why is because people assume that by saying whatever I want to say, there's no consequences behind it. En contraire, there is consequences. People don't realize how powerful words are. I forgot who said this. I think it was like a famous philosopher or someone, I can't even remember, but I know they say the most powerful weapon is not military, is words, literature. And what he meant by that is that, you know, words are strong because it makes you feel a certain way. And by saying certain words, you know, people can feel in a certain way. It's like, oh, you know, like, for instance, I can say somebody, hey, you look great today, you know, keep it up. That person may take it like, oh man, thank you, or may take it the wrong way. It's like, what do you mean I look great? It's a double-edged sword. Like, anything can go left right away. Obviously, if you say, you know, F the police, you say, no, it's freedom of speech, I can say F the police. Well, yeah, you can say it, but don't expect that the police might not do something in return. Oh, but they can't do that. That's violating my rights. Well, sure, and you can take that to court. But there's consequences for every action that you say. Just like saying like bomb on an airport or on an airplane. Like, you literally cannot say that. You cannot say the word bomb in an airport or in an airplane. The moment that happens, the army, TSA, the police are gonna be handcuffing you. And they're gonna interrogate you, and they're gonna put you on a no-flying list. It's my right. I have the right to say it. Yes, you have the right to say it. Nobody's censoring you by saying you're not allowed to say that. But also expect the consequences of you saying bomb in an airplane or in an airport. And the consequences is, if you say that, they're gonna definitely arrest you. Absolutely, 100%, they're gonna arrest you, and they're gonna put you on a blacklist, on a no-flying zone list. That means you cannot fly anywhere in the States. That sucks. Now that I give this little brief of why I'm talking about freedom of speech and the consequences behind freedom of speech, well, the reason why I say this is because we're gonna talk about our good old friend Kanye West. That's right, guys. Kanye West is finally canceled. Or is he? We're gonna get into that right now. Here's the thing. For those of you who aren't aware, but I'm pretty sure you already know the situation. Like, everybody knows what went with Kanye West in the past couple of weeks. But for those who don't, let me give you a brief, short, condensed story of what went down. For the longest time this year, like, I feel like this is the year where Kanye likes to self-sabotage himself. I don't know why. Many reasons. Could be. We'll get into that a little bit later. Not too long ago, he went on a fashion show and he put on a White Lives Matter shirt. Now, obviously, that's an outrage from a lot of people, you know, including myself, you know, because it's like, damn, bro, like, you literally went right there and slap everyone's face by saying, you know, White Lives Matter, just to say that it's cool. Because he did the same thing with the MAGA hat. If you guys don't remember, when he visited, you know, Trump, or President Trump, however you guys want to put it, he wore the MAGA hat, you know, to say, I'm a MAGA supporter, why not? But why did he do that? Because he said it, and I quote, is to make, whatever I touch, I make it look cool. So I'm putting this hat, and it's just a regular hat, and I'm gonna make sure that I'm rocking it, and everybody thinks that's cool because it's Kanye. His words, not mine. He said this. He literally said this because he wants to make things cool. So to go about, he put on a White Lives Matter t-shirt with Candace Owen, who is like a complete buffoon, that person is. And it went in outrage. And went in outrage, and it went in outrage, you know. But that's not why we're canceling Kanye. Everybody has their thoughts about it. We're not literally canceling for that in particular. We're canceling because of what he said on a recent interview with the Drink Champs podcast with Norier. And not only what he said on the podcast, it's also what he be tweeting about. First on the podcast is saying like, Jews, the black people are Jews. We are the Jews. And then he went about that George Floyd died out of fentanyl. And he got that information from the Candace Owen documentary, which is kind of wild. Like, Kanye, did you not see the video? Like, okay, he died of fentanyl. I mean, did you saw the video? Did you saw the same video that I saw? I clearly saw a police officer knee him on the neck and a couple more on the back. Suffocation. I don't know about you, but he died of suffocation. Knee. He couldn't breathe. I don't know where you come up with the whole fentanyl crap, but okay. Uh-oh. 1 second, guys. So back to Kanye. Yeah, we all saw the fucking video. He was kneeing. He couldn't breathe. Simple as that. And the story. I don't know what Kanye's, were about saying like, oh, George Floyd didn't die of knee, he died of fentanyl. I'm like, NANI? Okay. And then to double it down, he basically tweeted out saying, oh, I'm going on DEFCON free on the Jews. So long story short, he's been saying a lot of anti-Semitic things to the Jew community and as well as black folks, and disrespected George Floyd and George Floyd's family because of the way he handled the situation. So there has been a very, very long cancel spree on him, and left and right businesses have been canceling him. Left and right is like dropping hands, like, we don't want to do business with you. And obviously he keeps doubling down. That's it's funny. He keeps doubling down and goes like, Adidas taking away from me, my contract. I can understand how George Floyd feel because that's how I feel, getting knee by it. I'm like, but didn't you? What? Didn't you just say recently that George Floyd died of fentanyl? Now you're like, oh, I know how it feels. Like, first of all, what? Second of all, you have no idea what it is for somebody to get kneed on the neck. That is a completely outraged take out of it. I'm sorry, but that's like, whoa, dude. No, that's a hell to the no. And I remember this quote that he said on the Drink Chaps episode. He said, like, I can say any anti-Semitic things, Adidas ain't gonna cancel me. I'm like, oh, okay. Not too long ago, Adidas canceled. And when I say cancel, I mean like they dropped him. That like they're not doing business with him anymore. Followed by that, Gap did the same thing. So Jeezy and the Jeezy brand and what Adidas is Dunzo, Bellagio. I didn't know that they were doing that, and also a couple more businesses that Kanye was that I wasn't aware of it, but he had. They're like, no, that's it. Kanye, you finito, terminaste, se acabó, you out, te fuiste, bye bye, like that. So is he really canceled? Well, he dropped his status of being a billionaire to now a millionaire. So he still have hundreds of millions of dollars under his belt. So technically, he isn't canceled. It's just that he lost a lot of assets, basically, a lot of business opportunities, a lot of money investments or, properties and whatnot, like he lost a lot of it. So he's now just a regular millionaire like everyone else. And we're like, I don't think he lost, but he didn't win either. And I heard a lot of people on the other side saying, oh, he did that on purpose so he can get off the Adidas contract. And I will say this, I'm not against the idea. It's not far-fetched. I can totally see that happening. Absolutely. Because that way, if he drops out of a contract, he will have to pay whatever fees and cancellation fees and lawyers to the other side of the contract. But the other person drops him out of the contract, well, they have to pay Kanye. That's more or less how contracts really work, like that's why there's that, wording and clause, if you cancel or you drop us or, we turn this contract out, XYZ thing happens. That's where it really went down, to be honest. So he really got canceled. They silence him. They humble him, even though he's not a very humble person. They humble him in a way. So a perfect example of when freedom of speech is not literally freedom of speech, because of saying all that stuff, they cancel him. I will say cancel, but they didn't really cancel, but they cancel him on potential businesses and all other future businesses that can provide for him. So that can ultimately hurt you in the long run if you say well said, because now you're radioactive. Now you literally cannot be partnered up with anybody, And I heard a lot of people say, yo, but he's good. He's good. Like, fuck those other companies. Like, who cares? Like, Kanye can actually do it. He's Kanye West. He can do it. He can do it. That's true. He can actually do it. The problem is he doesn't want to. For XYZ reasons, he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't want to do it on his own, because I'm pretty sure he's tried to start it on his own. It backfired him, it failed him, and he doesn't want to do that again. So what he does, he relies on other companies to let him do it. So all he wants is basically the control, the total control of the creativeness of whatever brand he is up to. It's like, I want the apparels or the music or whatever to look like this, and that's how I want to. You guys give me the money, and I'll show you the creativity. Which is like, okay, I get that's what you want. Problem is, when people give you money, you're gonna expect them to say at least a say-so. Like, I have a say-so. Maybe not the final say-so, or maybe I do have the final say-so, but because I'm giving you money, yeah, I have every right just as much as you to say whether this is an okay thing to do or not, But Kanye doesn't want that. Kanye is a selfish prick, at the end of the day, so that's pretty much it with Kanye. Let it die now, because what else is there left to talk about Kanye? But let me tell you, other stuff that's been happening as well with cancellation in regards to freedom of speech. You got to be careful what stuff you say. A certain YouTube content creator goes by Ethan Klein from the H3 podcast. Yeah, YouTube basically suspended him for 1 week, which I feel like it's kind of like, well, if you were gonna suspend him, like, hurt him a little bit more than just 1 week. And I'm gonna explain why, guys. It's gonna explain why. So he got suspended for a week because he said in a recent podcast that he did on one of his channels, in regards to Ben Shapiro. By the way, Ethan Klein and Ben Shapiro are both Jews. It's just Ethan Klein is the extremist progressive, and Ben Shapiro is the extremist conservative, but they're both Jews. That's how they're labeled. Here's the thing about Ethan Klein. He has a bad reputation on bashing down people and calling them out and trying to deplatform them, like putting down smear campaigns and whatnot. Like he believes that he's like the social justice champion, fuck this guy, oh, how dare he? But most of the time it's out of context, and he doesn't have all the reliable resources, and he's biased by it, and he doesn't even do his research, so he doesn't even fact check, But that's just him, that's how it is. I'm not gonna go dive of what he does and all that stuff. That's just gonna give you a brief. Ben Shapiro, however, he goes by trying to go logical, but very, very computer based, with no feelings out of it, as to why certain things have to work in a certain way, and why your ideas is wrong and mine is the most common sense and more logical. I feel like sometimes Ben Shapiro's, way of thinking is very robotic, and he doesn't think with human feelings, and maybe that's the lack of sympathy that he has. That's what I feel, And that's what I believe. That's how it is. Now that you guys got to both brief stuff, the reason why even Klein from the H3 podcast got canceled is because he says some gnarly shit about Ben Shapiro. I believe he says, like, I hope Ben Shapiro gets into the gas chamber first. And for those of you who hasn't hit the history books, it's a reference in regards to the Holocaust during World War II, where the Nazis basically put the Jews inside gas chambers and died within them in the concentration camps, which is kind of fucked up. It's messed up altogether. He said that live, and it was kind of wild for him to say that. I don't know what was the context. I gotta check that out. We gotta have to look back for it as well. This is some of the stuff that we're gonna do to fact check some of the stuff that have been said, so that way we don't say anything wrong about it. And yeah, he said that, and we're like, well, okay, sure. Why would you say that? Like, why would you wish harm or death on somebody? I mean, sure, they may be an asshole, or they may be douches or whatnot, but why do we have to wish death on someone? Unless it's proven, unless it's proven that the person did something heinous and evil, like, killing somebody or raping somebody, or doing some wild stuff on the lolos, whatever it is. If, like, an evil person that commits a crime, then sure, we may think and say stuff like that. But if you're just saying that just because you want to say it, then newsflash, canceler, they're gonna cancel you. And that's exactly what YouTube did. They suspended him for a week, which is funny, It's hilarious. I don't know, maybe it's not I feel like it's not a harsher sentence. I just feel like if you're gonna suspend him, give him a week, a month, Give him a month, at least something that can potentially hurt him, so that way he can learn from his past mistakes. Basically, But a week is like, whatever. I just lost a week where I can gain it back next week, or so on and so on, or another stuff, It happens. But again, it's, one of those times in, like the Dave Chappelle show says, when keeping it real goes wrong. This is a perfect example when freedom of speech is not freedom of speech. When there's a consequences to everything that you say. Even I myself have said some wild stuff, like, now I'm gonna have people looking into my past. But guys, you can go ahead and look. I didn't say anything past, wild, okay? But I have said wild things to someone else, and by saying some wild things to someone else, it hurt me. It hurt me on the business aspect, on the music aspect, the business aspect, like all around. It hurt me. It hurt me all because I went back and forth with somebody on social media, and when they find out, it's like they don't want to deal with me. There's consequences for everything that you say. Sure, again, I repeat myself. Sure, we can say whatever we want to say. We shouldn't be punished by it. We shouldn't be censoring it. We're not saying censorship. We're not saying don't say certain things. We're saying it's the context behind it. And whatever you say, expect some repercussions by it. Like, how is wild that there's people that I've talked to that they say to me, like, then, that they're against it. That they're against saying like, oh, we should be allowed to say whatever we want to say. I'm like, no, dude, because again, you say bomb on an airport, they're gonna fucking tase you or shoot you, and they're gonna arrest you, and they're gonna ban you from the airport. Or you say I got a gun on a school, they're gonna fucking shoot you and they're gonna tase you and they're gonna arrest you. Because they're not taking any chances. It's repercussions. Everything that you say has some repercussions behind it, So you got to be careful of the stuff that you say, You just have to be careful. That's all. Nobody's telling you don't say the certain things. And better yet, like, if you're going to say whatever you're going to say it in a space where nobody's going to, where you know nothing's gonna bite you back in the ass, you know? But if you say it out there in the public and just because I feel like it's my right, okay, then go for it. Hey, go for it. Don't go come back here and crying when karma bites you back in the ass, because that's exactly what's gonna happen. And now I move into something that happened not too long ago. Because of what I say about freedom of speech, it all boils down to some of the stuff that happened not too long ago with a certain artist, mostly my homie Mostep. Shout out to those guys, you know, Josh and Pat. They're my homies. What happened recently is that Mostep, if you guys know in the Indian community, you're aware of it. And let me tell you, Twitter is holy shit. It's so horrible. Every time I scroll down on Twitter, it's so bad. It's so left and right. Like, what is going on? Which brings me to this, into the freedom of speech shit, and which brings into careful what you say, because it can affect you in the business aspect. There was some nobody that criticized, you know, Mostep and Dr. Ushu's latest song, which by me, I loved it. I love that Dr. Ushu. Danny is one of my homies. I love that guy. Such a sweetheart, you know, one of the many few people that I've interviewed in the Lone Wolf podcast, and I'm so happy and grateful that I interview him. And Josh and Pat from Molson, I love those guys too, you know, because they came over on Ultra, stayed on my home, and we kicked it, and we had a great relationship, you know, and I love those guys. Some nobody come at them, and obviously Josh from Molson defended Dr. Ushu. Obviously, anybody would have defended him. What typically nobody would have done is put more fuel to the fire. Because this nobody is trying to get a rise out of these artists, which unfortunately he accomplished it. He basically said some wild shit about, you know, how they suck, how this and that. Not gonna get into it. This is gonna muffin. And Josh's response was belittling the guy over to the point that you see some of the stuff and you're like, whoa, dude, what the fuck? Yo, chill. Like, pull him back. Josh, pull. Like, holy shit, dude, why the fuck would you say that? That's the argument. The belittling. Because the dirtbag really deserved it. But you didn't have to go that far. I'm not going to go and repeat some of the stuff that he said, because when I scrolled down, I was like, what the fuck is going on here, you know? All because of somebody criticized somebody and saying like, oh, your music sucks and whatnot, you know? Listen. And I'm not saying this, Josh, I'm not saying this because you've been in the industry longer than I have, or as long as I have, but you definitely have toured way longer than me. So you know how the game works. Don't engage with these people, because that's exactly what they want. That's exactly what they want. And you gave them what they wanted. It sucks. It really does suck, you know, because you were just doing the right thing, but you didn't have to take a step further and belittle the guy. That's exactly what he wanted, and you gave it to him. Look, I know that you're going through some stuff, and everybody's going through some shit every day. Absolutely. But that shouldn't be an excuse to, you know, to go and attack somebody over and over, like a roller coaster. Like that's bad. That's bad image. And as someone that has been in that position, that can potentially hurt you in the long run. Now, I don't feel like Mozart is ever gonna get canceled. Absolutely not. But a lot of people were not happy about it. That's for sure. So I don't know. All I can say is, like, when somebody comments you in a positive or negative way, you don't need to give them a reaction. I mean, it'll be dope if you do. If it's a positive thing, sure, tell them thank you, and blah blah yada yada yada. But on the negative side, if somebody say something negative, just like leave it alone or don't engage them. Do not waste your time, energy, or your mental state for that person, because it ain't worth it. At the end of the day, it ain't worth it. It'll take you a lot from you. It'll drain you. It'll put you on a position that you didn't need to be there. Let's move on. Let's move on, guys. Let's move on. This is a lot, but it happens. I know. I get it. It happens. It definitely does happen, and it sucks, guys. But do what I do. Just do not engage. And let me tell you, some of the greatest will tell you very much that they do not engage with their negative people. With the negative commenters, they do not engage. And they live happy. They got their mental state right. But you don't need that attention. You don't need that negative energy. You don't. No. Stay away from that. That's my advice, for everybody out there. It's not really worth, going back and forth with somebody. No. And if you're going to go back and forth with someone, tell them, all right, stop right here. Let's have a conversation. Put yourself in a webcam and let's talk. Let's talk. That's the only way to solve things, man. Because going back and forth on a Twitter, it's going to be a never-ending story. It's going to be let's see who's got the biggest dick. What for? What is worth for it? It ain't worth for it. It really ain't. So let's move on with the Twitter news, man. More Twitter news, which is like something I keep seeing. I'm like, something I do not like about Twitter is like, fucking hey, Twitter is like literally the drama space for a lot of shit. I do not know why. When did this happen? It was not like this back then. Or maybe it was worse, but it wasn't like this fucked up. Recent news saying that, a lot of A&Rs aren't really producers. Listen, guys, I already gave my opinions about A&Rs and record labels on the Wolv podcast. Guys, check that out and check on the episode about don't send demos to labels. And on a brief episode, I basically say the reasons why you shouldn't send demos to labels or, at all. Like, it ain't worth it. And if you still want to, regardless, then here are the steps of doing that, And I tell about A&Rs as well. A lot of these A&Rs and these labels, they're not really producers. They're just civilians. That's what they are. They don't know jack shit about music theory or producing or engineer or any of that crap. They're just regular civilians. They're literally the customers that you want to give it to them and say, like, see if they like it or not. And see, most of the time, some of these A&Rs are very harsh and they're very biased. So it's very hard, and they cannot be objective because they go about, let's see if this shit is hard. Oh, this shit is hard. And there are a lot of times when you hear some of the songs, you hear like, the mastering is not there or it's not loud enough. What's going on with the mixing of this? Whoa, why is this distorted? Like, this is Bobby. How did the A&R not see this? The many questions that a lot of people, a lot of producers we ask about, like, yeah, the answer is that most A&Rs are not really producers, so that's why they're like, they don't know any better. They're probably not listening to our real headphones. They're probably listening to a Beats headphones or an Apple headphones in the earbuds and AirPods or whatever. And that's how they're making the judgment, not on the car, not on the studio, on the Yamahas or the KRKs or whatever. Like, no, they're making a judgment based on their shitty quality. And if their shitty quality sounds good to them, then it sounds good to them. Then it's like, yeah, dope, let's go for it. Which is bad because then you're not being very objective and not giving them a critique feedback, That's why a lot of the artists who open up their own labels and it's them listening to, it's a different story because they're the ones making music, and at the same time they can hear something. It's like, hey, dude, you need to work on this and that, and they can be a little bit more critiqued about it. Dope, dope. But yeah, that's basically what's going on with the A&Rs, and I believe some of these A&Rs are lazy bastards. Honestly, some of them, not all of them, some of them, some of them, and that's the state that we are. So everybody's critiquing about A&Rs and whatnot, and they're also critiquing about people who do reviews on songs and whatnot and tell them, how good or bad some of the songs. And in my perspective, sometimes you definitely need people to give you a good feedback, good criticism feedback. Now, the way you say it is different. It all depends. There has to be some context. I could be an asshole, say, yeah, your music sucks. Like, this is sucks. Like, there's no low end. You could do this and da-da-da-da. That's horrible. That's being a douchebag, basically. That's being an asshole to somebody. That's not real critique. That's not real feedback. That's just being a hater at that point. Versus saying, hey, the song is dope. It's just that the mids are kind of, whack, or it could be better. Mixing is good, but they need to fix this. The kick is this and that. If you do this and that, then it could definitely enhance better. Now, that's different. Saying it like that makes a good feedback, I take it from all worlds. I take it from the harsh realities of people saying my music suck, and they're giving me a list of why, to the people who give me a very constructive criticism and say, like, all right, cool, it's dope. I wish you can actually work on this and fix on this and this, that, and I'm pretty sure your song will be ready to go. I've taken all world. And where I stand when it comes to that, I definitely need people to criticize me or giving me feedback on my songs, because if not, I will never release any of my songs. I will never know if the people really fuck with it or not. I will never know if the song is really good, because if I'm gonna be like that with that mindset, it's like my song is the greatest shit ever and it's actually a turd, well, because I didn't go on a feedback, then you're on a rampage with other people on Twitter, say like, no, bro, my shit is better, blah, blah, blah. You guys are sucking at this and that. And you're like, no, they're in the ending cycle of hatred because you can't accept feedback. And I know a lot of people get butthurt about that, but you have to, you can't take it personally, And I get that sometimes our music is personally to us because, we put our heart and soul into it. But at the same time, you guys gotta nip it in the bud with that, because if you definitely want your career and your music to succeed and get better at it, then obviously you need to take the harshest critics, take whatever they say, and then put it on your song, and then bam, it'll definitely, heartwarm. It'll heartwarm them a lot. Even if maybe they're not gonna like it. Even still, they're still gonna find some faults, but at least you demonstrate them. It's like, hey, I took your critics. You still criticize, then you're just a hater. You proved them wrong. That's how you do it. You prove them wrong. But I know a lot of the reviewers, people like Naughty Step, they actually they do good, feedbacks, and they tell about it. It's like, well, I love this song because this and that. The song is though, I just don't fuck with this and that. Like, that's actually good criticism. That's actually a neutral bias, unbiased, and feedback criticism on certain songs, and that's dope. I just don't understand why a lot of people take this very hard and they have to take it to Twitter. Like, what's the whole point of taking it to Twitter, to be honest? I really don't know. But last topic with Twitter, and then we move on to something much more positive than this. Elon Musk took over Twitter. Holy shit. Who would have saw that coming? Who would have saw that coming? But Elon Musk taking Twitter, that's actually a good move, I guess. And right away, he fired the CEO and 2 other top executives. Now, I don't know if Jack Dorsey was one of those CEOs that he was there. I hope he was, because Jack Dorsey is just an idiot, basically. But I don't know what to think about. I feel like I guess it's a good way to show Elon is like, yeah, I'm not here to fuck around. Like, you guys better be doing your jobs, or else, this is the results, I guess. In a way, it looks like kind of a dictator move. Hey, I don't know. I can't knock him down for doing that, because I've seen people being the top level executives and doing a shitty job. And some of these top executives, I'm pretty sure they deserve, because literally Twitter's a shit place to be. So if they gotta fire some people and lay off some people because they're literally not doing the job, they're not doing what they're supposed to do, all right, I welcome the chaos, I guess, but I don't know what else is gonna happen for this. I did hear not too long ago, Elon Musk did mention something about, anybody who has a blue check mark, they need to be subscribed. And if they don't do this by certain date, you're taking off the blue check mark. I don't know what is going on. I need to take a deeper look on that. We'll take a look at that next time. If you guys want to talk about it, we can talk about it in the next episode. We could definitely take a deeper look at that. I don't know what's going on, Twitter. I just don't like Twitter. I just want to move on with it, because as you see me, I'm moving on. Like, I don't want to talk about it. Let's end up with high positive notes, and that's something about the Wolfpack podcast. We talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly stuff that really happens, but we definitely gotta put some good stuff. Even if there hasn't been anything good, we need to put some good stuff. So let's go to movies and TVs. To all my nerdy people out there, my geeks and whatnot, whoever likes to watch TV or movies or care about it, and also video games, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it blah blah blah. Let's talk about it. So I saw Black Adam not too long ago with my cousins, my family from the Geektanium squad. Shout out to Geektanium. Black Adam. Good movie. I give it a B-, C+. It's not a replay movie. And when I say replay movie, it's not a movie that wait, if I see it on TV, I'm definitely gonna watch it again. Or I see it on the stream, I'll watch it again. It's at best, it's definitely a very good movie. I don't know what's going on with DC, man, but the recent move with James Gunn taking over DC and all its future projects, that's probably the best move that Warner Brothers Discovery needed to do for the longest time with the DC stuff. I know that their DC animations has always been great. Like, their stuff has always been good. Much better than the Marvel's animation. I know that for sure. They never fail. For some reason, I don't know why they never fail on that, but they fail in the movies. Or the movies is more of a hit or miss. More misses than hit. Fortunately, Black Adam happens to be one of those misses. It's watch it, you enjoy it, all right, dope, move on. That's it. That's all that you go. So with the recent takeover from James Gunn and another producer, maybe we're gonna see in a better direction with DC. Maybe we're gonna see better movies from here now, with the exception of the Todd Phillips' Joker and another movie. I guess Matt Reeves' Batman as well, and another movie that's also in the works. With the exception of those, because those are like they're very good. Those movies were great. So I wonder how good it's gonna be, the DC. Looking forward to it. I wonder. I hope for the best. What else? TV. House of the Dragons. Holy shit. House of the Dragons is an amazing series. If you guys haven't gotten a chance to watch it, I highly recommend watching House of the Dragons. It's actually pretty dope. They basically redeemed themselves from the last season of Game of Thrones. They redeemed themselves with this series. And I'm actually very looking forward for the next season, even though it's going to be like 2 years before we see it. But hey, if it's going to take long and it's going to be like that good, then fuck yeah, I'm all about it. So this first series, the way it ended, amazing. Just simply amazing. I can't complain. I'm looking forward to it. You guys haven't watched it, be sure to check it out. It's actually pretty good. More of the TV, The Patient. Oh yeah, I really want to talk about this. Guys, FX launched a Steve Carell limited series show called The Patient, where Steve Carell plays out a psychiatrist, talking to his patient who happens to be a serial killer. And the serial killer kidnaps Steve Carell character into his home and feeds him every day so he can have his own private sessions. And he's telling him, like, you need to help me because now I'm going to kill somebody. I'm going to kill somebody every day, every other day, if you don't help me. And the guy's just sick. Let me tell you, the first half of the series is amazing. It's like, holy shit. And dwells down how fucked up this guy really is and how compulsive he really is. But halfway to the end, oh my God, it was just dragging and it was just horrible. The way it ended, I understand endings and that not every ending is gonna be a good ending. But man, oh man, you have to end it like that? That was a horrible ending. That was a bad way to end the show. Hands down. No spoilers. No spoilers. Not yet, at least. Not gonna give you any of the spoilers. It's just overall, I feel like it was just a bad thing, man. It was a bad ending. It had potential. The first way it was good, but it's just bad. On American Horror Stories for new season came about. It's called American Horror Story New York City. We don't have any of the previous characters. You know, usually we get Evan Peters, but I know Evan Peters couldn't show because he was filming Jeffrey Dahmer, which that was a good choice. Other characters like Jessica Lange and Lily Rabe, Sarah Paulson. She's always on the American Horror Stories. Sarah Paulson is like the go-to person for all of them. Like, and a bunch of other characters. None of them show up. The only person, probably the recurring person or actress, is Billy Lord. And let me tell you, so far, it's also so-so. It's not so good, you know. I don't know. It's like I feel like American Horror Story is like degrading itself with its stories and whatnot. I don't know what's going on, but you know, it is what it is. I highly do not I don't recommend watching it, to be honest. It's not really like, it's not scary. It's not like it was in the previous seasons. It's just thoughts. It's more of a detective show, if anything, you know. People playing detective and an actual real detective doing his job, finding the serial killer. Or so far, this person is a ghost serial killer, or I don't know. Zachary Quinto is there. He's there, but you know, it's not enough to carry the show, unfortunately. So I don't know. I don't recommend American Horror Story to watch it. But let's move on. Let's move on with the last topics. Video games, upcoming video games. Guys, this is November. We got Sonic Frontiers. I've seen a lot of gameplay with Sonic Frontiers. It's actually looks very promising. But I'm gonna wait a little bit further to see when it comes out, see how it goes, and if it's actually as it meets expectations, then hey, I'm gonna go get the copy of it. God of War, oh my God, God of War Ragnarok, that beast is coming next week. That is awesome. Like, definitely, I'm looking forward to it. Been looking for it since I finished the first God of War on the PlayStation 4. This is gonna be a phenomenal story. I hope they did right with this story. So we'll see how it goes. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet coming in 2 weeks by the weekend of my birthday. I'm so excited for the new Pokemon game. I've been seeing a lot of gameplays and footages of it. Looks very promising. I'm gonna get the game regardless. I've been a Pokemon fan my whole life, so obviously I'm gonna play the game no matter what. I'm finding a little bit troublesome with the recent designs of the newest Pokemons. You know, there's probably released like at least 15. I know there's like 100 more, but they probably released only 15, and so far, it's probably 1 or 2 in which I really love, that are really like, holy shit, that's badass. I want him on my Pokemon party team. There's probably 1 or 2. It's scary because the overhype and saying that, you know, it's going to be a great, I don't know. In terms of designs, it's getting me a little bit worried. It's getting me, and it's something that my cousin has said once before. Like, lately, they becoming a little bit lazy with design. And I agree. Sometimes they use old school designs, like all original designs that didn't make it to the first couple of generations of Pokemon. And they're just like revamping it and slapping it over here. And that's probably what we're receiving, because some of these like is literally a miss. 1 or 2, like I said, 1 or 2 are like, oh shit, that looks badass. And I look forward to the further evolutions. And I hope that the Stardust evolutions are way better than last generation's Sword and Shield. But the good thing, besides the whole, Pokemon design aspect, the good thing is the storyline. Like, it has 3 different storylines, which is dope. It has do some of the research tasks, go fight, with the research tech is basically fighting like Titan Pokemons, like big ass Pokemons and catchers that are defeating them and whatnot. Defeating the new Team Rocket for Scarlet and Violet. Like, I don't know what was the name. I think it was Team Star. They've been publicized a lot. I think it's Team Star. Defeat all of them and collect all 8 badges, which is your typical storyline. And there's more to come post game. So there's more content. And obviously they say that there's potential DLC in the future. So there's more to it. I'm looking forward to it. It looks very dope. So I'm just looking forward to see how it actually goes and plays out, Now, the last thing that we're going to talk about before we wrap this up, and it's something that I want to wrap it up, to get it off my chest. The new Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 2. On the freaking previews and trailers, it looked amazing. And especially the campaign. I'm all campaign driven. I don't care about, multiplayer and whatnot. I've been hearing lots of people telling me that the campaign sucked. That the previous Modern Warfare storyline was better than this. And that's very troublesome for me because, damn, I'm all about campaigns, especially on the Call of Duties. Like, if the campaign was good and it's like, oh shit. But they told me that they suck. And I'm like, oh no. No, I don't want to buy it. And then the thing that actually might make me like, was that they said that the multiplayer was definitely much better, that they met expectations and even some. And a lot of people are literally playing the multiplayer and then going nuts over it. And that makes me go like, oh, crap. Because I'm not about the multiplayer. So it's like, I just want the campaign. Unfortunately, I'll have to wait, until, I get a copy from somewhere else so they can borrow it and I'll play it, or wait until it's like $30 or something like that and I'll purchase it, but definitely not purchase it for $70 just to play. I think it was like a 6-hour campaign. They say it was one of the shortest. And that's also like, oh crap, I'm not gonna spend $70 just to play a 3-hour game and not touch it anymore. I don't like that. So do we say Call of Duty was a hit or miss? I want to say miss, but then again, I'm not a multiplayer person, so maybe that's okay for a lot of people. Maybe that's exactly what a lot of people want. They want to play the multiplayer. That's exactly what they get. People like me who only play the campaign, then it's like, it's not worth it, guys. So it's not for you guys. We're going to wrap it up right here, and it's been a great pilot episode. I promise you guys on the next couple of episodes, they're going to be shorter topics, and we're going to be condensing this into a shorter version of the podcast. We're not going to try to do hour long, but if we do, it's because we got other guests and co-hosts and whatnot, But I'm definitely going to be shorter, so thank you guys for tuning in, guys. And remember, every week it's a brand new episode with a brand new topic. So always remember to like and subscribe for your weekly episodes at the WOLVPVCK podcast for so far the YouTube channel. So look at it at the WOLVPVCK podcast. You can also search it at the Lone Wolf podcast at YouTube channel, guys. So comment down below. Let me hear your thoughts. Share your experience. If you guys got a specific topic that you want me to cover, please let me know in the comments down below. I'll be more than happy to talk about it. And I'll definitely try to my best to talk about it and cover it on the next episode. So thank you guys for tuning in. And we'll see you guys at the next one, all right? Peace.